This is going to serve as an introduction to doing video communication, how to set up your desktop, how to use ScreenFlow, and all of the different tools that you might use within your screencasting. Let's start by setting up our desktop. The first thing you're going to want to do is make sure that you have all of the different programs or applications or web pages open that you're going to need throughout the screencast. It works much better to sort of plan ahead that way. What I like to do is to put all of those applications into one space. Now what I'm talking about is on the Mac we have this thing called Mission Control, which you can either get to by clicking on the Mission Control button down in the bottom there, or by doing a 3-finger swipe up. Both will get you there. So on your mouse pad you can do a 3-finger swipe up if you're using the mouse pad, or you can click on the Mission Control. And you can add as many different spaces up here. Call them Desktop 1, Desktop 2. If I wanted to create another one, it slides it in there. Now, I put all of the things that I want onto Desktop 2 that I want to use for screencasting. So I'm going to hop into Desktop 1 and I see all of the different things that I've got going on here. If I wanted to do a screencast using Evernote, I can drag my Evernote into Desktop 2. In which case I'm going to be able to then screencast and not have any interruptions from Skype, from anywhere else. But once I've set it all up so that in my desktop that I'm using I have the right applications and I'm going to set it up, then I'm going to launch ScreenFlow. In order to launch ScreenFlow, I'm going to need to go into my applications. Normally I like to use the Launchpad in order to do this, which presents me with the app interface, and then I'm going to be able to open it up simply by clicking on it. But if I wanted to launch it the other way, I could go into Finder and then open up my applications and launch it normally. Now you may notice that not a whole lot happens. We get this icon up here, and we get usually a box here. Now if I already had it open, it may open up a previous project that I was working on, but most likely what we're going to get is simply this box, which is going to let me decide what I want to record. Do I want to record the desktop? And if so, which screen do I want to record? Do I want to record my webcam, which is, a great idea to make sure that your voice is getting across? And do I want to use a headset, or do I want to record from one of the other inputs? I can also have it record computer audio, whereas if I needed something to play from my computer, it would also record that, and then we would have the full picture. Once I click the record button based upon the settings that I'd like it to record, I can do anything that I would like to on this screen. It's going to count down from 5 to 1, and then it will start the recording. And you can use the Shift Command 2 command in order to get it to stop. Or you can go up here and press the Stop Record button, but it's Shift Command 2 in order to get it to stop. So I have Sketch open here, and I can do some highlighting. If I wanted to do some of those kinds of things, what we end up getting is a line, or if I wanted to make a box. And so the idea then is I'm recording what I need to, getting my point across. If I have the webcam on, I'm gesticulating and all of those kinds of things. But that's the first step. And then the second step is to press that Shift Command 2, and it will pull up your recording into the interface itself. So what we have looks a lot like this. Now that we're in the ScreenFlow interface, I'd like to give you a little bit of a tour. This main area where you'll be doing a lot of the work is really the visual. This is the output. This is exactly what you will see, or what anyone else will see when they watch your video. Down here is the timeline, so I can scroll back and forth throughout and see exactly what it would look like. I can see these waveforms right here, which are the audio. I can see all of the different recordings that I've done, any times that I've split recordings, all of those kinds of good things. Over here, are some of the more advanced properties. You don't have to worry about these at the very beginning, but just think about the idea that I can manipulate video, I can manipulate the audio, raising and lowering it. I can change the screencast recording properties. I can do some things like callouts, calling attention to one section of the screen. I can also do annotations, just like we were doing in Sketch, but I can do it on top of a video where I'm drawing arrows, highlighting things, all of that kind of good stuff. I can also do text, so I can actually place a piece of text, much like a headline or something like that, directly in there. And then I can also import more media. So if I have images or audio or something like that, I can import it. So what we have is this very basic place where I see what I'm going to see in the video, and then I see the timeline of how it's going to look. One of the things, just to give you a few tips here, that I always encourage you to do is to actually separate, whenever you use the webcam, to separate out the webcam audio, meaning from my headset, from the video itself, so I can edit them separately. So if I do a right click or a control click, I can do a detach audio, and I'm presented with a third item here. So I have my screen recording, I have my webcam recording, and then I have my audio. So if I detach those out, then what I am able to do then is edit just the video, edit just the audio, and edit just the screen recording. Now let's start at the very beginning, which is always a very good place to start, and decide how big we want everything to be. So if I like the size of my webcam, I can leave it, but I can also drag it around. Let's say that for the very first introduction part, you know what, I wasn't really doing anything on the screen, so I want myself to be a little bit bigger, but I want you to know, what's going on kind of in the background there. So I can zoom that up a little bit. I can also, if I want to, I can select the background and make that smaller if I want to kind of have that be out of the way. I can overlap and have it be one on top of the other. That's not a problem. So that we can keep this video as basic as possible, I basically want you to just understand that you can rearrange these different elements and take a look at them. You can rearrange them on the screen simply by dragging and dropping them where they need to be. You can have them overlap. You'll see the A and B right there. And then once you have everything looking the way that you want to, it sounds the way that you would like to, the last thing that you're going to want to do is to publish it, to save it. So the two things that you're going to want to do is saving. Obviously you'll name it and put it somewhere on your hard drive, but the other part of this is really publishing it to YouTube. So if I publish it to YouTube, I can enter in my Google credentials, sign in, and then it will let me title it, do a description. This is a tutorial. You are required to tag it or to categorize it in that way, so we'll say video, and if you put a comma, it'll separate it out. We'll do this tutorial. And then the three boxes here, you always want to check these. So if you mark it as a personal screencast, then you can make it unlisted afterwards, but you'll want to publish it in 720p, definitely the highest quality possible. And then doing a letterbox means that that you will get the full effect of that widescreen that you have. So the idea is that you will publish it, and then once you are in YouTube, you'll be able to set that to unlisted, and we'll take a look at that in a future video. But the idea is record, use your voice, use your webcam, manipulate it a little bit, and then we'll get into the more detailed elements of ScreenFlow in another screencast.